What's up, guys? John from Heavyset Tactical here, and today I have another tabletop review. We had a bunch of rain this week, but I finally am going to get out tomorrow and crank on that K329 Work Tough Grizzly that was so graciously sent to me by Aurora Borealis. So today, I wanted to talk about a Benchmade knife that I thought was kind of going to bring me back to the fold of Benchmade a little bit. So here is comes with some paracord. Here is let me see here. I have some custom scales in the box that I'll talk about in a minute. Here is the Benchmade Adamas fixed blade. And this is everything that comes along with it. Two of these MOLLE compatible / belt loop attachments. This is the button lock that goes from here around the front of the knife to here. This is the Benchmade Adamas in their flat earth Cerakote finish. Needless to say, I got the Anonymous, and I've had a bunch of Benchmades that I used to love. They had an old fixed blade, tactical fixed blade that I forget the name of that was awesome. This is, then I had the Anonymous. I had the Nimravis. I have two Nimravis. I have the Tonto tan and the all black, kind of straight edge one with no serration. And to be honest with you, I love the Nimravis. It's a little thin, but it's a hell of a tactical knife. Perfect handle. So I got the Benchmade Adamas, and the sheath I'm not a fan of. We will get to that. So real quick, I'm going to run through some specs. This is the Benchmade Adamas fixed blade. They have a bunch of Adamas folders, and it is overall length of 9.17 inches. A blade length of 4.2 inches, a blade thickness of 0.17 inches thick. The top is cut a little bit, so the whole width is at its thickest point with that little fuller there, and back to the handle is 0.17 inches. It is in CPM crew wear that's hardened to 63 to 65 HRC. Now, very briefly, I want to talk about crew wear. I got exposed to crew wear. My first crew wear knife was I was a little late on the draw with it. My first crew wear knife was a Spyderco, the crew Carta, the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 with my Carta scales and CPM crew wear, and the edge retention and toughness. When I say no rolls, no microchips, that is the sharpest out of the box knife I have ever used in my life, and I swear to God, it is the only pocket knife that I have used the heck out of and not had to sharpen one time. Literally have not sharpened my Spyderco Paramilitary 2 in crew wear one time since I got it. I've had no reason to. It has had zero issues with edge retention. I mean, zero. So I'm kind of loving crew wear. Now, super quickly, the weight of this by itself is 5.66 ounces. So it's a good weight. I mean, it's kind of has like a weird comfortability about the handle, but it comes with the paracord. So I think it's meant to be wrapped. I have some custom scales from TP Grips that I'll get into in a second. It's a drop point flat grind. The handle is 4.97 inches, so almost a 5-inch handle. Again, it's a flat earth Cerakote finish. The handle thickness is 0.17, just like the blade, because it's a full tang, unhandled, unbridled knife with some cool jimping points. I kind of like it being on the back for your thumb. And I really like this ramp. The jimping is definitely aggressive, and it has some there for having grip this way on your hand and on the back of your palm to be able to grip really hard. Even if you're not seated up here, you can still grip hard. The jimping is pretty good. The handles or the knife is pretty comfortable, and I know the crew wear is just going to be a beast. It came with a kind of semi-dull edge on it. I was really unimpressed with the grind on the edge. Now that I'm, getting more advanced with my KME sharpening system and my TS Prof, I sharpen knives a lot, and I think I've put some videos up with my work sharp. I still got to do some videos with my other systems, but this grind was not, in my eyes and my ability, not very impressive. It's very rough. It shaves paper fine, but for anybody with, I know tactical knives like this one, it's meant to be a brute. It's meant to be a little more brutish on the grind, so it holds up longer. So it's a thicker behind the edge grind, and a thicker profile. I understand that, but I would have liked a little tighter of a grind. The weight 5.66 ounces. Has a polymer sheath, and the designer was Shane Siebert. I don't know any of his other work, so that's a new name for me in the knife world. So now back to the story. I had the Benchmade Anonymous, and they pretty much they killed it as far as the sheath is really nice and the whole package is okay. But it's way too thin, and it's going to snap at some point when you're prying or batoning, which is kind of sad. So I feel like this was an integrated kind of better off, thicker, bruter, more tactical version of that, with this big finger choil, finger guard hanging down there. It has a very similar kind of profile. So, make a long story short, Benchmade, in my eyes, recently anyway, right here in my pocket, one of my daily knives that I had to get 2 different sets of scales for this. They're on the way in the mail, because you guys know I do carry this Benchmade sometimes. I sharpened it myself a couple of times, and it has a slicey, nice thin profile. It's a slicer. But, I don't care what any of those videos say. There's a lot of guys that try to say it's a hard use knife. The lock isn't as dependable as a lot. If I tried to baton with this, I could hit it twice and it would unlock just like it did on me. I'll have to make a video of that. But anyway, it's not meant to be batoned. It's a folder. I get it. But, you see these scales. Look, they're touching. I mean, I could go like this right now and break that. Look at the play in there. And I've tightened this several times. And it is a flimsy, no offense, the S30V has held up great. Edge retention is great. Sharpens great. It's a good looking knife. But it is kind of shit. And I don't like cussing on my channel that much, but it's shit. It's kind of a shit folder. And in my opinion, Benchmade has this new thing where they're making these knives that you guys, I like Benchmade. I have a bunch of their, not a bunch, but 5, 6 of their knives. And to me, as a pretty big knife collector, 5 or 6 of someone's knives is pretty good. That's about the amount of Lion Steel knives and Work Tough Gear knives I have. But Benchmade's Freak is the only one I would put my count on. And I'll do a video on the Freak later. But Benchmade's been making these knives that they know we are going to have to go to a third party and buy upgrades for. And I am so irritated by that. So for this, the videos I watched, it looked like there was some positive click. Very, you did hear a click, but it's so... see that? I almost came back in and stabbed myself on this video right now. This sheath is crap. The thumb ramp, you ready for this? When you go to push out, that thumb, there is 0 thumb ramp. So you're trying to eject the knife, and I get it. It's supposed to run that thumb ramp right into your thumb. But the way they executed it was kind of crap. I feel like they tried to make a sheath that was like the SOG pillar, very skeletonized. But dude, like Benchmade, you guys know you're good, and I know your name is something you can ride on if you don't have that many good ideas or whatever's happening, but this sheath is crap. So, real quick, it comes with this, no offense, this annoying and easily comes undone, from both sides. It doesn't remain, you know, if there was one side I could screw in, so I know even if I flip it, I'm not gonna lose it. But this side comes off too, so there's no way to fully attach it unless I glue it or something, which, you know, I guess I'm gonna have to. But, you know, in my opinion, there's no rattle. It's very good on that aspect, and it's not coming out. But, you know, there's a lot of ways this could have been executed way better. And these straps, if you guys want a belt loop, I put a tech lock on this. And guys, I'm just being honest, okay? It does come with paracord to wrap the handle. I have the custom scales to show you. But when it comes to these loops, or I'm sorry, when it comes to putting a tech lock, normal tech lock on here, this thing, dude, sits so far out from your body. I mean, it sits that far. Literally, it sits so far out from my hip. It's super awkward and bounces around a lot unless I tighten my you know, like a carrying gun belt and have it tight. It's not very good. These loops are meant to screw in here and here, and then come over, and you can lock them here or put them super tight there. You know, so I screwed one in and one in, and, you know, it didn't have very good retention. These are kind of really, I feel like I could rip this thing right out of here. I don't want to lock it because it's kind of a B word to, you know, pull out, kind of a bitch to pull out. So, make a long story short, like, you know, with this knife, I bought 2 different scales for it to see if it helps, which I was willing to do that to see, and that might be me being stupid. Maybe I should have cursed the knife, sent it back, and not, you know, tried to pursue it, but the blade is okay, and the blade profile I like. It's a good size, so I got some titanium scales and some brass scales for it to check out. So that'll be a whole nother video. So I'm going to pause this, guys, and I'm going to give you one last look of it without the scales. Man, that sheath is, in my opinion, almost dangerous. The retention on the sheath is ridiculous. And the funniest part, guys, if you think, oh, well, I won't use that belt strap, which I did. I said, oh, it's cool. I'm going to take it off. Watch this. You hear that? You're going to hear that all day long if you don't put this loop on there. So it's kind of ridiculous. So here's one last look at it. You know, and I hate cursing this knife right now a little bit because I did keep it. I was going to send it back, man. I was pissed. Then I put a pair of $60 or $80. They were sent to me for free. And the only reason I kept this knife is because TP Grips, Anthony over at TP Grips emailed me and told me he had some grips for my Adamas and sent them to me for free to do a review with. So I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to throw them on. Just give me 1 second. Alright, guys, back at it again. So, here are the OD Green micarta grips from Anthony over at TP Grips. You can go to tpgrips.com or, shoot. So, guys, I posted a short, and look, I even saved his card. Okay, great. Anthony, I hope you're okay with this. I'm sure you are because I was doing a review. Guys, this is Anthony. Anthony is an amazing guy. He sent me these grips. He's got a bunch of handle grips, especially for this knife. But tpgrips.com, tpgrips@gmail.com. You can email him or hit him up on Instagram or eBay or at his website. But email him and tell him what grips you need, and he'll hook it up. I mean, he's a really great guy. He told me that he wanted me to... You know, I hit him up about grips for the Benchmade Adamas because I knew when it was coming that I needed grips for it. And he said, dude, I got a sick pair of grips for it, and I'll send them to you. Why don't you review them? So if it weren't for the grips that Anthony sent me from TP Grips, I don't think I would have kept this knife. Now, I have the ability, luckily, from my dad being, being a handyman. He taught me how to make things. He taught me how to use tools. So luckily, I'm able to make a pretty sick Kydex sheath for this. So I'm going to make a really awesome custom Kydex sheath for this. This sheath Literally, man, I almost threw this thing right in the trash. And, you know, the guys over at TP Grips, see how that matches the sheath? It's actually really slick, man. And if you're wondering, yes, it seats in the sheath. Look at this. Look at the deficit inside, or in the gap there between the grips and the sheath. There is none. This seats in the sheath perfectly. And they measured those grips out that they make so flawlessly. I'm just blown away. They look good. They feel good. When I tell you guys that, oh, I hate that sheath. When I tell you guys that the grips that TP Grips makes for the Adamas, this is probably, and this is one of the only reasons I'm keeping it. I know I've bitched about Benchmade a lot today, which sucks. Dude, Benchmade Bushcrafter, Benchmade Puko, they have good knives still. And some of their steels are great, and their heat treats are great, but what are you guys doing right now, Benchmade? You know, you guys want to talk about knife companies? Work Tough Gear Knives. Flawless knives, perfect grinds, perfect finishes, perfect sheaths. I don't have to make a custom sheath or buy custom parts or sheaths for the Work Tough Gear knives I buy, or Lion Steel, or some of these other companies, you know? So a lot of times it's upsetting because I loved Benchmade knives for so long. I have some of the a couple original folders from Benchmade. I have the Griptilian, the Freak, the two of the I wanted to get an Adamas fixed blade. I have this. I have the Anonymous. You know, I got rid of the Anonymous, but I have the Nimravis. Loved that line. So in a whole, if I just took this knife for what it is, this knife right here with the handles, yes, with the handles, I understand they made it to be a slim profile, light knife to throw on a, to throw on an armor vest, or to throw on a plate carrier, or to throw in a backpack, or to throw almost as a boot knife or like a leg strap knife. It would work really good for. And the CPM crew wear, I'm sure they finished it great. The finish on the blade is beautiful. You know, there's a lot I do like. The jimping is a little aggressive, so if I had a glove on, you know, it's going to grab real tight. Because, again, this is, I think, made, you know, almost solely for a tactical knife. Now, if you guys go over to DBK YouTube channel, the Dutch Bushcraft Knives guys, they do a review of this knife, and it batons like a monster, and they actually end up really liking the CPM crew wear. Is, you know, almost indestructible, for God's sakes. So I know this knife is able for those hard days and digging trenches, you know, digging holes to crap in, or whatever they're using this knife for overseas. I know for the most part this thing would handle great, but the accessories suck, let's be honest. You know, these shitty plastic belt loops. I mean, it's kind of an annoyance being an original Benchmade fan, you know. So I kind of more or less have talked about some good points, I think, that are honest, you know what I mean? My honest opinion is, I'm sure what a lot of you guys have been thinking about. You know, this is a totally great knife for somebody that works at UPS, bro. This knife, to me, a guy that, you know, I'm hiking all the time, hunting and fishing, and being a woodsman, and practicing my skills of fire making, and, you know, shelter making, and eventually planning some really, for you guys on the channel, man, I'm planning some really, really epic trips up north. You know, I got some cool things in mind I'm going to do this year. This knife is almost not usable. I would break it in a day if I tried to use it as a backup, you know, like a what's that called? Companion type knife. I would take my Mora Bushcrafter over this any day. And I know that's a fixed blade, this is a folder, whatever. But you know what I'm talking about. There's some knives for under 50 bucks, even folders, that I think beat this knife out. So I think maybe, you know, I haven't read a lot about it, so maybe I'm talking all this crap and they literally made this knife. I'm sorry, but it's called the Benchmade Bug Out, like for a bug out bag to be durable. So, you know, and something to count on. So I watched a Wrangler Star video about this, and that's what made me order the Bug Out, because he was so upset with the knife. So again, just like him, you know, he made valid points. I love you. I'm sorry, I love you, Benchmade. That's what I was going to say. I love Benchmade knives, but let's get back to that like late 90s, early 2000s, killing it with some solid fixed blades. Go over to Choir Boys Cutlery. Scab over at Choir Boys Cutlery has a couple old, or at least one of their old black-handled tactical knives with like a 6-inch blade. Sick knife. Stuff you can't find anymore that's discontinued. You know, and some other reviewers that have some older knives. They are sick. Now this knife, you know, I'm telling you guys, anybody, they're super affordable, under $100 for a really good set of grips. I think they're like 50 or 60 bucks at TP Grips. He single-handedly, Anthony, saved this knife, in my opinion, for me. So, guys, definitely, again, I'll show his card one more time. Go check out TP Grips, Anthony over at TP Grips. You know, he did not sponsor this video. I told him I wanted to review a set of his grips, though. And I'm going to do a hard use video with this. It's cleared up. You know, this week at some point I'm going to put out a video of me actually doing some bushcraft stuff with this, batoning with it. You know, that CPM crew wear label's just still visible. This is one of the most comfortable sets of grips I have ever owned. And that's saying something, man. You guys know I don't have a Patreon account. Not that I'm not ragging on guys that do. I wish I was a big channel that could, you know, get publicity and have a Patreon account, but I'm a guy that collects knives and uses knives, and I love giving you guys some almost like buying guides. That's what I look at this. When I go to buy a knife, I go and I see if Scab at Choir Boys had one, or I see if Gideon's Tactical had one. You know, I kind of find these channels and see if they have used a knife that I want to purchase. I mean, that's just being a smart buyer, but, you know, a smart consumer. So I like to know that some of you guys might use my videos for that, hopefully. But yeah, so I'm sorry for the rants. You know, it's not my normal style, but I feel like Benchmade just is kind of dropping the ball a little bit and becoming sort of like a, you know, like a McDonald's, like a chain store kind of vibe to it. Even though this knife is solid as hell, it really is. For the knife, just the knife without the package. So again, very comfortable ergonomics with these grips. This knife is great. These grips save this knife. It looks fantastic. It made it look just like the folder, and I love the folder, the full-size Adamas folder. So maybe I'll grab one of those and check it out. To be honest with you, I think this is a better, more usable tactical version of the Anonymous, and I think that the Adamas folder was like, you know, that shot back after everybody talked enough crap about how flimsy this thing is. They kind of put out that line. So I don't know if that was what happened or whatever, you know, but I'm really happy that you guys tune into my channel. I have some, you know, I told you guys we're going to do, I am going to pick 3 random subscribers. Now, this is the thing. I'm picking 3 random subscribers. When I get to 500 subscribers, which is about to occur, might have already, I have to check. I'm going to pick 3 subscribers that have left a comment before. So that's the, and I'm going to give away knives. So, you know, over the next week or however long it takes to get to 500 subscribers, I am going to pick 3 of you guys that have commented on my channel. And that's going to be the first one. After that, I'm just going to pick 3 every time. It doesn't matter if you commented or not, but I have appreciated some of the conversations and advice and feedback I've gotten, you know, throughout the past couple months of starting my channel. So guys, I am going to pick 3 of you that subscribed and commented on my videos, and I'm sending you guys brand new knives, man, that I have either hardly used or you know, have barely taken on the trail. So, you know, they're definitely going to be in really good shape. So again, this is the Benchmade Adamas fixed blade. Oh, so price. I'm going to put a link in the description for 2 different places. One, Blade HQ. They might be out of it, not sure. I think they're out of the Coyote Tan. I might put the link for the black one. They do have this in an all black Cerakote. This is the Flat Earth or Coyote Tan Cerakote. I call it Coyote Tan. Flat Earth, whatever. Matches a Glock 19X really good, or a SIG M17 really good, that's for sure. So anyway, I'll put links in the description. I paid $247 plus tax, so they're about $260 on a good day, maybe $255, $250, between $245 and $260, I'll say. Realistically, I think they're $247 on Blade HQ, but you know, Blade HQ has taxes at the end when you tally it up. So again, guys, Anthony from TP Grips, thank you for saving this knife for me. It's the only reason I kept it, man. This is the most comfortable one. No, not the most, but I'm telling you right now, this is, because of these grips, absolutely. This is one of my top 3 most comfortable fixed blades I own, let alone probably the most comfortable or second comfortable tactical knife that I have. And that's big news coming from me. You know, I'm sure you guys have seen some of my shorts. I have way too many knives. But, you know, thank you, Anthony. And thank you guys for watching my videos. So, again, Benchmade Adamas fixed with this weirdo sheath. We're going to have to do something about that, guys. So, like always, guys, I appreciate you more than you know. And we'll be doing a giveaway probably over the next week, maybe even tomorrow if my account's up to 500 subscribers. So, thank you guys for tuning in. And, you know, again, sorry about the rant. I'm just a little disappointed these days with what I'm getting from Benchmade. Maybe I'm just buying the wrong knives, but this is saving it a little bit, just a little bit, and I think it's going to do great. So thank you guys for watching, and like always, stay safe and stay heavy.